Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another workout. And today was Dynamic Effort Bench Press Day. Today was the final week of the wave with the Buffalo bar. Next week we'll go to the football bar. And felt pretty good. A lot of band tension though. I'm running 115 pounds of band tension on this for the speed work. And so it's again 3 sets wide, 3 sets medium, 3 sets close grip. Now, I might have to increase the weight slightly on the barbell when we go to the football bar, only because, again, I'm cutting range of motion back to the same that we get a normal barbell. But, I'll play it by ear. Not really that big of a deal because the main thing I'm focusing on now on speed days is getting large amounts of band tension and actually running fairly lightweight, like below 50% max, right? We're running below 50% max on the actual bar weights on all the speed work. Something that people need to keep in mind. So what people need to grasp who don't do this sort of training, they don't know what's going on with bands. They might look at this and go, well, I mean, I know that bar is more than 45, but that's what, 142 pounds? Doesn't seem that hard. But keep in mind, guys, it's a lot of band tension, and this is about compensatory acceleration. It's not about actually lifting anything that's a heavy weight. It's less than 50% of your max usually on the way I'm running it right now. So it is about the band tension, and I'm actually adding band tension throughout the wave. So with this particular wave, I started with 85 pounds of band, then went to 100, then 115. And we're doing the 9 sets of 5. 9 sets of 5. And then we do, obviously, assistance work. And the assistance work that I'm doing is going to be geared towards, again, upper back development. Actually, total back development, really. And all the back work will handle a lot of the bicep at this point because, again, the sheer volume of it. And there's plenty of data out there to support that idea. And I think it gets pointed out, even people will point out the stuff with like Dr. Brad's last little study. He used really, really low volume for the back. Let's be realistic here. Really low volume for the back and not the best exercise selection. That's the reason the biceps grew less than the curl group. And I'm not saying curls don't work. I'm just saying that if I'm going to put extra small movements into my arms, it needs to be into my triceps because that helps my bench a lot more. You can get bicep development out of your back work if volume is sufficient. You pick good exercises. So I'm not as worried about it right now. I'm not as worried. And in fact, I feel my biceps on all my rowing and my pull-ups. They're getting plenty of work. Triceps need to take priority. So, I need back development. We need more back. We can never have a big enough back as a strength athlete. We can never have big enough traps. But I need to put a very, very heavy focus on chest, triceps, and even more delt, which is why I do the laterals, which is why I've returned to doing an overhead press once a week. All right? And we need to get strong at these things. We need to get strong at everything. Because that's the other point. I'm probably going to talk more about that later, so people need to understand that powerlifting is not a technical sport. It really isn't. Yes, technique matters, but technique accounts for so little of your max squat, bench, or deadlift that it really is icing on the cake. A brutally strong person will be good at powerlifting. Okay, period. Powerlifting is actually literally just a test of strength. When the 3 lifts are combined together, it's just a test of full body strength. When they're all totaled. Because technique doesn't matter that much. You can have bad technique and be a great bench presser. Have bad technique and be a good squatter. And when I say bad, I mean like a top coach would be like, oh, that needs a lot of work. Right? You can brute strength your way through those and still have if you're really, really strong, you're still going to have an elite total. All right, it is about strength. So what we need to remember with these things is that I'm not as concerned with that as I am just getting all around strong. And that means we use all these different bars, all these different angles, get strong at every angle. So the football bar for the overhead press, this thing is tough. And I said it last time when I tried it. Like, it is tough. This is awkward. It's difficult because it pulls the bar further in front of you than a barbell. Like, that's one of the reasons I got good at the press. You can use a lot of technique on the press. And people don't realize that. Even the strict press are like, man, you're up to 225. I could never do that. Right? You guys saw me do it over a dozen different times. Right? There's a technique to that. You can't use that technique with the football bar. it changes your bar path. So using the same technique that you use for it does help. It helps quite a bit, but you can't do it. And it's because the bar is forced further in front of you. So it's interesting, and it's awkward, and it's hard, but I really tremendously feel my delts, my upper chest, that whole region just gets lit up, and it's awkward and it's hard to balance. And I think that's going to make this a good exercise for me, because awkward lifts help build brute strength, right? If you want to get good at being strong when you get pulled out of your groove, when things go wrong on a heavy lift, in other words, that's what maximum strength is. Can you power through when things get tough? Can you lift maximally when things are going bad in the middle of the lift, or it stalls, or it tries to pull you out of your groove? That's why brute strength matters. These sort of exercises build that. You know, when you're forced to squat with a safety squat bar, when you have to overhead press with this football bar and it pulls forward, right? It's awkward. It's awkward and it's hard. But that builds its own sort of strength, doesn't it? Right? There's a lot of things that build interesting strength. Things when you're forced to do dead stop type training, like a box squat, a deadlift, a floor press, those build their own strength. Awkward lifts build their own form of strength. You know, being forced to overhead press with that football bar. Right? That's hard. You got to try to find your groove and your angle. Squatting with a safety squat bar. I mean, they're awkward. Especially when you start throwing bands or chains over these things. My God. I mean, that would be like my next level thing right there. It's like the football bar. It's like, all right, well, that's cool. Let's try some chains on it or some bands. Once I get good at it, it's like, let's make it harder. Make it harder. Make it more awkward. And we got to do all this back work. Football bar again today. I did 10 by 10 last week. I just did 8 by 10 to 12. Some of these I really just lost count. I basically just went to failure until it burned, and I didn't feel like I could do more. So they were anywhere from 8 to 12 reps, or 10 to 12 reps, 8 sets. Again, that's a lot of volume. A lot of volume. And that's what I need to do. And again, I've got the different grips. I'm doing the middle one right now, which is pretty narrow grip, that shoulder width. I can always take it out wider if I want to later, and I may mess with that. So I can rotate through those. So what's interesting is that it does give me more bicep recruitment. There's more bicep involved because of that angle. So it's going to be better than doing the fully pronated one if I want to make sure that I'm getting bicep training. Again, it gives a unique burn in my back. I feel like this is an all-around good exercise just for great upper and middle back development, and for your biceps and your delts and everything else. I feel like it works really, really well. But the perk is that with the multi-grip bar, I can always take the grip out while still keeping the hammer grip. I can adjust it. So again, we'll alternate through those. If I feel like eventually I need to adjust the workload, I can always take the wider grip. Now that narrower one, I don't know about that. I don't know if I'll be able to ever do that on a bench. Maybe on a different bench, not on this one. But again, this left me pretty exhausted. Like, I felt like this finished off my biceps, my back, everything else pretty well finished after 8 sets of this. It's all I could handle. And you know, that's a fair amount of back volume for the week, because if we take out all the deadlifting, because I pull twice a week, I do good mornings twice a week, right? That's a lot of back. That actually hits your lats. That hits your traps. People forget that. So even without those, it's a fair amount of back volume, because I did 4 sets of the narrow grip or medium grip pull-ups, and then we did 8 sets of these rows. It gives me 12 sets for my back. That's a pretty large amount of just a pulling exercise like that. And I will probably over time work on more of the pull-ups. I don't know. We'll see. I might be able to do more total sets of them in a day. But that's the upside with lifts like this, because none of them are compressing my spine. I'm either in traction hanging on the pull-up, or I'm using a chest supported row like this. It's still a free weight. It is easier to recover from. You can handle pretty significant amounts of volume on these things and recover, because that's the one downside. I do so much axial loading because of all the squatting and the deadlifting and everything, that can become a limiting factor. So this works really, really well for that. And because I'm now doing a row with a pull-up again, I'm hitting both of those angles. And again, we're ensuring maximum development because we come over to the point. We need to be strong at every angle. We need to be strong at every angle. We have to be maximally strong. And we need to be strong with different bars. We need to be strong with chains. We need to be strong with bands. All right? This is how you get strong. And it's a total opposite approach of high specificity type training. But you know what? Everyone who trains like this, who's a strength athlete, seems to be really, really jacked. And it makes sense because they don't have any weaknesses in their strength curve. Right? They don't have any weaknesses. Therefore, every muscle has to get thicker because you have to hit all these angles as far as actual under heavy weight. It matters. Then I decided to finish off the triceps with this again. I had been debating doing my football bar with the chains again because I really like it on my heavy day, but I really like the fact that I get that over speed eccentric on this. You know, I hate to take it out because I feel like it gives such a unique feeling in the triceps. It's giving me a unique burn after the speed benching that it's accentuating the training effect I get from that and making sure that my triceps are completely done. But 4 sets to failure on this is pretty much all I think I can handle after all the pressing volume. That's enough. That's probably near my maximum recoverable volume for the week on my triceps. So again, it's enough to finish them off and hopefully keep them growing. So I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.